We begin with the news just in. The Western Cape High Court has postponed the African Transformation Movement's application, hoping to force the Speaker to hold the no-confidence motion against President Cyril Ramaphosa via a secret ballot. Now, the application will be heard in February next year. Joining us now in studio to discuss this and other issues is Dakota Legoete. He is the NEC member, or should we say National Executive Committee member, plus the spokesperson of the party. Mr. Legoete, thank you very much for making the time to speak to us. Perhaps let's start with the news just in, that there has been a postponement of this motion, if you like, because the ATM had gone to court to try and seek a directive there that will force Parliament to hold a secret ballot. Firstly, what's your view as the party on this issue of a motion of no confidence towards a leader of the African National Congress deployed in government?
No, thank you very much, Xoli, and to all the viewers at home. As the African National Congress, we are highly disappointed by the abuse of our democratic system. You would know, ATM is a two-member party in the National Assembly. For anyone to move or to remove a president, you need 200 plus votes. So you can imagine if two MPs make an application to remove a president when actually they need more than 200 votes. It's a joke. It's a distraction. It's a defocus. Because where we are now, we are seeing a resurgence of the COVID-19. We have over 2 million people who lost their jobs. We have an economy that is being downgraded to BB minus. So our problems are very serious. Rather than to be distracted by a party which seeks to grandstand. I don't know, it's part of their campaign strategy for the next year's local government elections or what, but it's a waste of time. I mean, the whole country today is waiting for a motion that will never happen. And as the African National Congress, we want to put it very clear that we have all the confidence in President Cyril Ramaphosa as the leader of the party and as the leader of the Republic deployed by the African National Congress. We have every hope that he will do everything in his power to ensure that we deliver on our mandate and our manifesto and all our policy positions.
Not to belabor this point, because we're now effectively talking about a matter that's postponed all the way to February next year. But what do you think as a party is the motive behind the ATM tabling this motion? They've stated what is motivating them, but we want to gather from you, and simply because the suggestion has been made that the formation of the ATM has its roots to Ace Magashule and other people who were interested and who had reason to back this party. I know that you've investigated as a party these claims. What were the outcomes, by the way, of that investigation?
Look, the outcomes of that particular investigation, there's no way where they link the Secretary General of the ANC, including any of our leadership in the current National Executive Committee, to the formation of that particular party. And that's why even now we are very resolute and clear that none of our members, even if a motion was to go through today, none of our members in the ANC caucus, none of our representative was going to support a frivolous motion that does not add substance.
Despite the factional battles that plague the ANC, none of the members, if this motion were to take place via secret ballot, you're saying none of your members would vote with their conscience, particularly those that may not agree with Cyril Ramaphosa at party level?
Look, that precedence that was set in the previous fifth administration against President Jacob Zuma on the voting with your conscience is not correct. In terms of our constitutional democracy, we also recognize proportional representation. That's how parties are represented in Parliament and elsewhere. and amongst them, they choose one leader who would be president, and in this case, we have chosen President Cyril Ramaphosa. It would be wrong for ourselves as the ANC to vote ourselves out of office.
All right. So I guess in the interest of transparency then, as we wrap up on this particular subject matter, why has the ANC not brought out the findings of this investigation? My understanding is that it was conducted by Frini Jinwala.
Yes, no. That particular investigation went through all our structures. It went through the top 6, the NWC, as well as the National Executive Committee. We have received that particular report. I think it's in a matter of time we can make it public for everyone to see.
When is that?
We'll hear from the National Executive Committee. We are sitting from this Sunday until Tuesday.
All right, let's move on to another topic now. Today, the party is supposed to be holding a special meeting of the National Working Committee. That's a structure that implements decisions of the NEC. What is on the agenda of this special NWC meeting?
Look, the NWC prepares for the meeting of the National Executive Committee, which will be sitting over the weekend. Amongst issues that we are likely to deliberate are issues that we have set for ourselves as the ANC in our manifesto, how best we can improve the economy, how best we can create jobs, how best we can improve our education system, because as it is now, you know, there's a proposal in terms of our curriculum to move from normal basic education to some vocational and technical education, which will assist our kids moving forward to have the necessary artisan skills which are needed by the economy, so that we are compatible to our economic needs in terms of our skills capacity. So those are some of the things that the National Executive Committee will be engaged with. The other points would be obviously the matter of peace and stability in the region, of our SADC region, matter of Zimbabwe, developments in Mozambique, other issues that we are likely to discuss, developments in Ethiopia and elsewhere in the continent. So those are things that we are assist with, rather than some of this frivolous motion of no confidence.
But what makes the meeting special? This is a special NWC meeting. What we are detailing now are matters that ordinarily would be seen by South Africans as things that the country is grappling with now, and these are day-to-day issues that you as a party should be trying to implement anyway. So what makes the meeting special?
Obviously, you know, amongst the major things that we are supposed to discuss is how implementable is the resolution we took in terms of the step aside of some of our members.
So that's what makes the meeting special.
So there are a number of opinions that has been sourced in terms of ensuring that if we are to implement this particular resolution, it will not bounce back or be in conflict or intransigent to the spirit as enshrined in the main constitution of the Republic. So those are things we are looking at. For example, I can make you the rules of order for parliamentarians, that when you lose 3 meetings, you cease to be a member of parliament. Equally, the same goes to the legislatures as well as municipalities. Now, when we say to you step aside, it means you would not attend some of this meeting. Would it be correct in line with the rules of order of number of legislatures or even the National Assembly? Or would it be correct in terms of rules of order of number of municipalities? So those are some of the things we are looking at. But at the same time is to check whether what we are bringing would it not be intransigent to the Bill of Rights as enshrined in Chapter 2 of the Constitution, that says that anyone in this republic is innocent until proven otherwise. Yeah. So as it is now, with our experience having learned from the 2012 case in Mangaung court, you know, the matter between Ramakatsa and Ace Magashule, who was leading the PEC that time as the chairperson, wherein we took a decision as the ANC that any member who takes the ANC to court, that member would have self-expelled himself or herself from the party. But what the court said in Bloemfontein after Ramakatsa took the provincial conference of the ANC in Free State to court, the court said it very clear. It nullified that conference, if you remember, in 2012. But the court went further to explain that the constitution of the ANC, the resolutions of the ANC and decisions of the ANC
Yeah.
do not supersede the main constitution of the republic. And I think that came as a lesson to us to know that whatever we decide as a governing party, it must be compatible with the main laws of the republic, which in particular the constitution and all other provisions of our statutes in the republic.
All right. Mr. Legoete, I think I've given you ample time to explain this all, but you have sought legal opinions, and my understanding is that you have received 2 thus far. What do they advise on this stepping aside issue? Very simply.
Look, so far I've not seen them. We have not seen them. I'm also a member of the National Working Committee. They will be presented in our meeting. And so far we don't have copies. It's a matter that we are dealing with now. So people who are privileged to have that particular copies, our top 6. So they will give us a report in terms of what are they recommending to the NWC, and subsequent to that, what is the NWC recommending to the NEC that will be sitting over the weekend.
All right, all right. So successfully, I think, sidestepping that question about these 2 legal opinions. By the way, will they be discussed in this NWC meeting, or will they be discussed at the bigger meeting, which is the NEC at the weekend?
Look, the highest decision-making body is the National Executive Committee. So NWC processes day-to-day work of the organization. The top 6 initiates agenda items for all of us in line with our conference resolution, with our policy position, in line with the objectives we have set for ourselves as a movement.
All right. Now, the NEC meeting of August 2020, that NEC meeting took this decision of members stepping aside if charged with serious offences. Why was it important for the party to take that particular step?
You would know the optics have not been good for the party. When we went to Nazareth, there was a report which was tabled, which demonstrated that some of us are involved in wrong things, which are in conflict with the law. Then conference at that time in Nazareth mandated the ANC NEC to fight state of capture and any form of corruption. And that led us to the NEC taking a decision that any member who's found to have done wrong things or to have been found with his hand in the cookie jar of the public funds, that particular member must step aside. And as it is now, the matter of step aside, we want to get an opinion so that we know that whatever decisions we'll be taking, it will not affect anybody's dignity and human rights. But secondly is that we are putting this matter before the National Executive Committee for them to assist the National Working Committee in terms of how best we can implement this particular decision.
All right.
But as it is for now, the decision stands. It's a decision of the NEC. We just have to find in law how to make it implementable.
Very interesting. You just have to find in law how to make it work or how to implement it.
Yes.
Some will argue you just have to find in law how you can avoid implementing it. But we're going to continue this discussion in just a moment. Dakota Legoete stays with us for just a little longer. This is Newsfeed, the AM edition. This is Newsfeed AM, and we are in conversation with ANC NEC member Dakota Legoete. He also doubles up as the spokesperson of the party. Mr. Legoete, we were talking about the step-aside issue and why it was important for the NEC to take this particular decision, given the number of members who find themselves charged with serious offences. South Africans out there are asking themselves the question, including myself as an ordinary South African, why is it that the ANC NEC takes these decisions, which are important, only for them to not be enforced? What is this whole exercise trying to find legal opinions in order to enforce what you have decided is important, not just for the party, but for the nation, because these are people who serve in government, some of them.
The reason why it's important for us to source advice and opinions is because we are a constitutional democracy. Now, in a constitutional democracy, there is a Bill of Rights, which recognizes the dignity of each individual. And amongst those particular clauses in the Bill of Rights is that you are innocent until proven guilty. And it's a right, a basic right enshrined in the Constitution.
Why is it that, Mr. Legoete, no, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Why is it that for some members, it's a quick decision, you have been found in the wrong, step aside? What am I talking about? I'm talking about the two members or office bearers in Limpopo. When the Integrity Commission of the party said step aside, of course, you've now decided to reverse that decision altogether in relation to VBS. They had to step aside. Why is it that when Ace Magashule, a top 6 member of the party, sits right at the top with the president, these are matters that affect him now? The Free State is in a mess. Just today, at the Commission of Inquiry, we're hearing of figures of $3.35 million, not rands, dollars, that have been lost to the Gupta network. And he was the man in charge. Why must the party be squirming and not implement its decisions where he ought to step aside?
No, thank you very much. I would not be speaking on behalf of Ace Magashule or the Free State government. I have only limitation to speak to the resolutions of the ANC. Indeed, we took a resolution in our 54th National Conference that we are going to fight any form of state capture and corruption. And we even said, currently from the August NEC meeting, that any member of the ANC who's found or who's charged for any maladministration, malfeasance or corruption, that particular member will have to step aside. Now, the reason why we, like I earlier explained, on the Ramakatsa and the Magashule case of the NEC decision that was implemented in the past,
yes,
which was found not to be respecting the spirit of the Constitution of the Republic.
But
and that's what we want to avoid even in this regard, related to this particular matter, that would not be undermining the spirit of the main Constitution. And once we have agreed as the NEC, it's going to be implementable and enforceable. So it's a matter that we still have to work out the nitty-gritties of how to get it implemented.
Sometimes we get lost in your explanations about what it is exactly that you're telling us. By the end of this NEC meeting that will take place this weekend, what will the decision be on the step-aside issue? Very simply.
Look, it's not for me to tell you now. It's a matter that is going to be tabled in the National Executive Committee. The National Executive Committee will have an opportunity to discuss the matter. And once the National Executive Committee has discussed the matter, it will make an NEC decision, which will be pronounced.
Let me ask you a question differently. Again, is Ace Magashule, the Secretary General of the ANC, at risk of being suspended should the step-aside issue not be respected by him?
Look, a matter of disciplinary process, it's another matter in terms of Rule 25 of the Constitution of the ANC. So as matter stands for now, there's nothing that the Secretary General of the ANC can be accused of. And for that reason, I will not be in a position to say...
How can you say that with a straight face, Mr. Legoete? He's charged with serious corruption in the Free State. What do you mean there's nothing that he's being blamed for or charged with? He's charged with corruption in a court of law. It's a criminal case.
Yeah, you were referring to the matter related to the disciplinary process of the ANC.
All right.
Yeah, I remember your question. So let me just remind you, I'm not going to get into the matter of the case which is before the courts of law.
Yeah.
I would not want to second guess judicial officers. That is the authority of the court and the magistrate and the judge to make a proper finding as to whether he's found guilty. As it is related to the ANC process, we have not yet started anything against him in terms of disciplinary processes. What I know is that maybe he will appear before the Integrity Committee.
Maybe he will appear before the Integrity Committee.
Yeah, so
Are you saying that for certain? Because when you say maybe, it's as though it may not happen. Is there a process? Has he been asked? Has he volunteered to go before the Integrity Commission?
Obviously, all of us, in terms of the resolution of conference, is that we must volunteer to appear before the Integrity Commission once there are issues against us. And as it is the case now, there are issues against our Secretary General in the Bloemfontein Magistrate Court. So it is going to be important that he go and explain himself before the Integrity.
Has he volunteered to go?
Yes.
He has.
Hello?
Has he volunteered to go?
So far, he has not yet pronounced himself, but I'm sure if he does not, the Integrity Committee can call him.
Can I ask you a question? Why is it so easy to sidestep NEC decisions? For example, you were at the Magistrate Court, or rather the Bloemfontein Court, where he appeared on this Estina matter. There is an NEC resolution that says, yes, members in their individual capacities can go there and support a leader that they feel they ought to sympathize with. Why was it important for you to go there?
Yeah, it's important because I'm one of the communicators of our party. A leader in the form of the Secretary General of the ANC appears in court. There's going to be lots of public opinions. There's going to be lots of insults hurled against the leadership of the ANC, in particular the president. There's going to be lots of insults done to those who are leading government. Now, I'm a responsible communicator. I need to be there at all times to put the party position, irrespective of the situation or circumstances we find ourselves in.
But interestingly, none of the NEC members who were there expressed themselves in any way, shape or form on that podium after the court proceedings, on the burning of a T-shirt bearing the face of the president. None of you said anything about that.
Yeah, it's not true. The Secretary General, Comrade Ace, he said he condemned that particular act.
Was it in reference to the T-shirt?
Yes, in reference to the T-shirt, of the burning of the T-shirt of the president, because he made it very clear that any burning of the T-shirt with the face of the president, it's a burning of the flag of the ANC, because any T-shirt of the ANC has the logos, has the colors, including the face of the president as the figurehead of the organization. So he condemned that particular action. The whole NEC and all members of the ANC, including alliance partners, all of us went to town to condemn that particular act because it does not help. It happened to President Beki, it happened to President Zuma, and now it's happening to President Ramaphosa. It cannot be tolerated that people, at any time when they feel aggrieved, they must use the colors or the flag of the movement to show their anger. It's not correct. We cannot promote such acts. They are barbaric and unorganizational.
Let me ask you this final question, Mr. Legoete. The commission chairperson at State Capture, Raymond Zondo, has issued an instruction, or has asked the South African Police Service to investigate the matter of the president walking out of his commission without the commission chairperson's permission. Where does the ANC stand on that matter?
Look, as the ANC, we have said that we are not going to give running commentary on issues that happens before the commission. Even if it involves our members or our leaders, they will have to be answerable to the commission. They will have to account on issues which are raised against them. As the ANC, we have resolved also that we support the commission and the work of the commission. And at the right time, as the African National Congress, we will appear before the Commission to explain ourselves on issues that were raised.
Are you calling upon former President Zuma to go and reappear at that commission?
It is for him and his legal team to can finalize that particular matter. I will not be in a position to speak on his behalf.
He's an ANC member.
That's correct, he's an ANC member, but that particular process, it's a process that was started by the ANC through a conference resolution, and we have said as the ANC we will support the work of the commission. But as it is now, between him and the chair of the commission, the recusal matter, it's a matter between a lawyer and a client, and a matter between a witness and the commission.
Mr. Legoete, you've just said, as a party, you support the work of that commission. It was through your efforts,
Yes.
in part through your conferences, that
Yes.
supported the institution of that commission. So how is it that your member, when he disrespects that commission, he's not being called upon to cooperate with the commission?
Yeah, you know, a commission, it's a judicial process. Now, people who can make judgments, who can make conclusions, are judicial officials. And a judicial officer here, it's Deputy Chief Justice Zondo. So for me to second guess whether it's correct for President Zuma to walk out or not, it's not my competency, it's not the ANC competency, it's the competency of the Zondo Commission. So as it is now, I would not want to implicate myself or be in contempt of the judicial process which is undertaken by the Zondo Commission.
And I take it that you hold the same line then on another of your members, Carl Niehaus, who essentially is threatening or is saying that there is going to be civil disobedience if President Zuma is arrested as a result of what he did.
I find that statement to be very reckless. You know, civil disobedience means civil war. We are far from that in South Africa. We have serious challenges to deal with. We have youth unemployment. We have poverty, which is skyrocketing. We have over 2.2 million people who have lost their jobs. And with the resurgence of COVID-19, it means numbers will go up.
So what are you saying to Carl Niehaus?
What I'm saying is that it will be important for him to withdraw that particular statement because it does not assist with problems that we have. And I think the judicial process as undertaken by the Commission, it has enough capacity. Our judicial system, it has enough capacity that if any one of us is aggrieved, we can go there for a recourse rather than to talk war talk, which says that there will be civil disobedience and civil this and civil this. It's not going to assist us. I think it will be correct that Carl Niehaus or MKMVA retract that particular statement and find the best possible solutions in law in how to deal with this situation.
But it's not the first time. It's not the first time that they have almost threatened that commission, the work of that commission, Mr. Legoete. It's because of the lack of consequence management on the part of the ANC that they don't feel threatened, that they could utter such words. You've just said what he said was extremely reckless. Should he not be subjected to disciplinary processes?
Yeah, no, that particular matter in terms of the processes of the ANC, it can be undertaken by the top six or even by any other member of the ANC who raised this particular matter. But as it is for now, I know Carl Niehaus was called by the SG. He was given a letter of reprimand related to this particular comment. So that's where we are with him.
I think that's news. Has that been communicated publicly? Was it the first time that you're communicating this, that he has received a letter of reprimand? What does that letter say, in essence?
No. In essence, it says anybody from the ANC who communicates must have a full mandate of a structure. Now, Carl Niehaus can't speak at all times on behalf of the ANC when he's not one of the official communicators of the ANC. He can speak on behalf of MK, MVA, but so far we have said MK, MVA and MK Council cannot be addressing meetings or any press briefings until we have concluded the matter of one unified and unification conference of the two structures of our ex-combatants.
Dakota Legoete, thank you very much for making time to speak to us here at Newsfeed.
No, thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you, sir. Dakota Legoete, NEC member and the spokesperson of the African National Congress.